meets her match in an interview that spirals completely out of control? Today, we're diving into the explosive moment that left everyone speechless when Kelly Clarkson stormed off the Today with Jenna and Friends set after a confrontation that nobody saw coming. If you want to see more behind-the-scenes drama and celebrity moments like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you think really triggered Kelly's reaction. The morning had started like any ordinary promotional stop: bright studio lights, cheerful producers, and Kelly Clarkson arriving with her usual upbeat charm. She walked into NBC studios radiating warmth, the same warmth that won over America when she became the first ever American Idol winner. She was there to promote her new album and upcoming tour, expecting nothing more than a friendly 15-minute segment her team had scheduled weeks earlier. Jenna Bush-Hager greeted her with smiles, light conversation, and compliments about her outfit. Kelly relaxed into the chair, laughing easily and sharing sweet stories about her kids and their latest antics. Everything was moving smoothly until Jenna transitioned into the more serious portion of her notes. "So, Kelly, your fans are absolutely obsessed with your new single." She began warmly, but then her tone shifted. "But I have to ask about something that's been circulating online. There are rumors about some tension behind the scenes of your talk show. Care to address that?" Kelly's smile flickered just for a moment, but she quickly regained composure. She offered a diplomatic answer about every workplace facing challenges. Still, Jenna pressed harder, mentioning allegations of Kelly being demanding and even toxic. The studio's energy changed instantly. Even the audience, quiet but observant, seemed to tense up, trying to shift back to the music. Kelly attempted to redirect, but Jenna continued. She referenced anonymous stories, accusations of Kelly yelling at staff, firing people over small mistakes, and creating an environment where employees were supposedly crying in bathrooms. Kelly pushed back firmly, her voice just slightly raised, denying the claims and calling them exaggerated or outright false. As Jenna insisted that multiple sources couldn't all be wrong, Kelly's frustration became visible. Her hands tightened, her posture stiffened, and the warmth in her eyes dimmed. The interview had crossed into territory Kelly clearly didn't expect and didn't appreciate. She emphasized professionalism, dedication, and the pressures that come with leading a major talk show. But Jenna continued challenging her, implying a pattern of behavior. By now, the tension in the studio was thick enough to cut with a knife. Kelly wasn't just defending herself, she was being pushed into a corner on live television, and everyone watching could feel the confrontation heating up. The tension in the studio became palpable as Kelly Clarkson leaned forward, her voice calm but firm, signaling that she wasn't going to be cornered any longer. "Take responsibility for what exactly?" she asked, eyes narrowing at Jenna. "For having standards? For expecting people to do their jobs? For caring about the quality of what we produce?" Her words carried the weight of years of experience, the calm intensity of someone used to managing both fame and expectation, and a clear message: she would not accept being misrepresented. Jenna hesitated but pressed on, referencing more anonymous sources, claiming Kelly had created a culture of fear. "That's ridiculous," Kelly said sharply, her famous warmth now gone. "You're asking me to defend myself against gossip and anonymous claims, and you're doing it in front of millions. I came here to talk about my music, my album, my tour, not to be ambushed with hit pieces disguised as questions." The studio fell into an awkward silence, cameras rolling, capturing every moment of the rising confrontation. One of Jenna's co-hosts tried to intervene. "Maybe we could redirect to your new songs, Kelly? Fans are excited about the album." But Kelly wasn't distracted. She fixed her gaze on Jenna and began a pointed critique about journalism ethics, questioning whether the hosts had reached out to her or her representatives before airing such serious allegations. "Real journalists don't surprise someone with claims without notice," she said, her voice steady, controlled, and measured, yet carrying an edge that made it clear she was done being passive. Jenna's confidence started to waver, and it was obvious even to the crew off camera. Kelly leaned in, her hands clasped in emphasis, asking how many of these anonymous sources had actually been contacted directly. How many were willing to put their names to the claims? The interview, which was supposed to celebrate her career and new music, was now an intense examination of character and integrity. Kelly challenged not only the questions themselves, but the very method of their delivery, highlighting the responsibility that comes with a televised platform. The co-host made another attempt to calm the situation, noting that nobody wanted to make Kelly look bad. She shook her head in disbelief. "From where I'm sitting, that's exactly what's happening," she said. "I've been in this business over 20 years. I know the difference between an interview and..." Kelly emphasized that her standards and expectations for professionalism should never be equated with abuse. Her frustration wasn't just about defending her reputation, it was about ensuring that millions of viewers understood the difference between rumor and reality, gossip and fact. The studio remained tense. Producers whispered off camera, unsure of how to steer the moment back to neutral. Kelly had seized control, making it clear she would not sit quietly while her character was being questioned on unverified claims. Kelly Clarkson stood, her posture rigid but composed, pacing slightly as she addressed the studio. "Jenna, let me ask you a legitimate question," she said, her tone controlled yet commanding attention. "Have you ever managed a team of creative professionals? Have you ever been responsible for a multi-million-dollar production with dozens of moving parts and hundreds of people depending on you? Because from where I'm standing, you have no understanding of the pressures, responsibilities, and impossible standards we face in this industry." Her words were measured, but each sentence hit with the force of someone defending not just her career, but her integrity. The camera operators and production crew exchanged nervous glances, unsure whether to keep the focus on Kelly or Jenna. The co-host seemed frozen, caught between attempting to mediate and simply witnessing what was unfolding. Kelly's frustration wasn't just anger, it was precision. She carefully deconstructed every accusation, showing how the narrative being pushed misrepresented her actions, her intentions, and her management style. She emphasized that high standards and dedication should never be twisted into toxic behavior, and she demanded accountability for the way media platforms present stories. Jenna tried to redirect the conversation, suggesting it was all part of legitimate journalism. Kelly's eyes hardened. "Legitimate journalism would have given me the chance to respond beforehand. Legitimate journalism would have called my team, asked questions, clarified the facts. What you've done here is different. You've prioritized drama over truth, gossip over accuracy." Her voice carried an intensity that made it clear this wasn't about defending herself in the moment alone. It was a lesson in the responsibility media professionals carry every time they speak about someone's character on live television. The studio remained silent, the tension so thick that it could be felt in every corner. Kelly's pacing slowed, her gestures deliberate, and she turned toward the cameras to address viewers directly. "To anyone watching, people who have worked with me, who may work with me in the future, I would never intentionally create an unsafe environment. My standards are high because I care. Excellence isn't cruelty. Professionalism isn't fear." She paused, letting her words resonate, giving the audience a glimpse of both her vulnerability and her resolve. Even as she controlled her voice, her co-host, Kelly continued, addressing the ethics of reporting and the broader culture that fuels sensationalism. "This isn't just about me. It's about the way real human beings are treated, about reputations, about families, about consequences that extend far beyond the cameras rolling right now." She made it abundantly clear that what unfolded on the Today set was not simply an interview gone wrong. It was a microcosm of the larger issues in media and celebrity culture, and she wasn't going to stay silent. Kelly Clarkson stopped at the edge of the set, her heels clicking sharply against the studio floor, commanding the attention of everyone present. The room was dead silent, every eye fixed on her as she turned back toward the cameras one last time. "And Jenna," she said, her voice calm but piercing, "the next time you decide to ambush someone on live television, maybe make sure your facts are straight first. This isn't journalism. This is cruelty with better lighting." Her words hung in the air, an indictment not just of the moment, but of the culture that allowed it to happen. The producers whispered frantically off camera, trying to figure out how to salvage the segment. But Kelly's focus never wavered. She picked up her purse deliberately, her movements measured, like a conductor marking the final beat in a tense symphony. "I want to be very clear," she continued. addressing viewers directly. I would never intentionally create an environment where anyone feels unsafe, unwelcome, or mistreated. My expectations are high because I care about quality, professionalism, and the people I work with. That is not cruelty. Her voice, steady and unwavering, reflected the composure of someone who had faced countless challenges in her career yet refused to allow false narratives to define her. Even as the co-host pleaded one last time, suggesting she could end this on a positive note, Kelly shook her head. Positive? She asked incredulously. Positive would be journalists remembering their responsibility to inform, not to destroy. Positive would be treating people with basic human decency instead of as content to be consumed. That's positive. Everything else is just entertainment disguised as accountability. She paused, taking a deep breath, allowing the gravity of the moment to sink in. I've spent my entire career using my platform to lift people up, to share stories of struggle, hope, and resilience. I've talked about depression, divorce, body image, because people deserve to know they are not alone. And now, I'm being repaid with character. Assassination on national television. Her gaze swept across the studio, the reality of the confrontation mirrored in the stunned faces around her. Finally, Kelly began to walk off, her steps purposeful. The cameras continued rolling, capturing history in motion. To my fans, my team, my colleagues, she said, turning briefly, this is not who I am. This is what happens when someone tries to define you by gossip, lies, and unverified claims instead of your work and your character. She walked out, leaving behind a studio frozen in disbelief, a host struggling to recover, and viewers witnessing the exact moment a beloved figure reclaimed her narrative. The cameras finally stopped rolling, but the impact of the moment reverberated far beyond the studio walls. It was a moment that would be analyzed, discussed, and remembered, a testament to Kelly Clarkson's strength and unwillingness to be silenced.